to our regular podcast, Knowledge Empowers. As always, with you is me, Kat. 안녕하세요. Then we have Baruch.
Hello.
And we have Kolaj.
Dobré ráno. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning,
And
Kolaj.
the energy is back. Baruch, you had a homework for today.
Yes, I did. You gave me the homework. You volunteered me for homework.
That was Kolaj, not me. I don't even know the topic. So. And let's say I know very, very little about this topic. So.
Yeah, that's why I was volunteered, I think. Yeah, because I already went through this topic with some of my colleagues in my previous work, and that's why I was volunteered. And the topic is 6 thinking hats. So, yeah.
What does that mean? Take us through.
Well, actually, it's a way to find a solution to a problem. So maybe we can start with...
I disagree.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for a case study, Kolaj.
Exactly.
Can you think of any, let's say, a challenge or disagreement that you recently had and you just couldn't find a solution? It could be in work, it could be with your partner, it could be with your family, friends.
Yes, it was right before we started to record this session. And Baruch said that whatever she's training, there are no endorphins. And Kolaj started to...
That's not really a problem because we were not trying to find a solution. We were just basically arguing, right? I was not trying to find a solution. Yeah. So you must think of a problem where you are trying to find a solution. So...
Okay, so yesterday I was on a call preparing for a session that we're going to deliver today at university, where we were informed that the group of students we're going to have, because this time we're going to deliver it in English, that not all of them might come. And also it happens that during the class, some of them may leave with an excuse stating they have another class, which is actually not true. And we were trying to think of possibilities, like if that happens, how are we going to behave, etc. So that's the conflict.
Oh, okay, that's a nice one, I think, because okay, let's go through this with 6 thinking hats. And in this concept, we have, well, guess how many hats?
6.
5? I guess 5.
Yeah, you are right, Kolaj. We have 6 thinking hats in this scenarios, but there is one hat that you always use at least twice, and that's a blue thinking hat. Blue thinking hat represents, let's say, a managerial thinking, and also it's called a think hat. So blue hat is actually something that where you work with the information. It's where you think, when you hypothesize. And this is also a good opportunity for us to basically, as you mentioned, Kat, at the beginning you state the problem. So that is also part of a blue hat. So you are thinking, like, we have this problem, we have students, they might do this, they might do that. So that is the first part. Then we have second part. It's a white hat. And white hat represents facts. So what would be the facts in this scenario? Like, okay,
The
for
students
example,
leave. That's a fact.
yeah, that's a fact.
Students.
Yeah, that's a fact. Oh, there is.
Fact number 1, there are students.
I guess all the description of the session, like what the session is supposed to describe, when, how, for how long, etc.
Yeah, it could be many things. It could be dates, things like objectives, but there should not be any opinions in the white hat. So try to keep it neutral.
And assumptions?
No, also no assumptions. Just facts.
Assumptions are part of the blue hat?
Actually, I would try to leave assumptions away completely. If you have assumptions, I would try to make them facts. So try to confirm some assumptions.
Okay, and what's the
So
difference
I
between
think-
assumption and opinion?
Let's not go through that. I think that
I'm
would be a
seriously
whole
going
different
to
topic.
make a popcorn for myself. These two today, well, I don't know what's happening there, but I'm going for popcorn.
Assumptions and opinions. Opinions also shouldn't be part of the white hat. That's opinion. That's very subjective, right? So only facts. So what other things can you think of when you have a white hat on? You mentioned we have students, we have dates, people are leaving. That's a fact. That already happened, right?
Well, it would be good to know what percentage of people are leaving or who are these people, if there is any pattern. So search for that. I would go for any sort of data regarding that, maybe also if it's connected to something else, though, to search for those patterns, like, okay, it's coming, the what is it? Test period is coming, so they need to educate more, or like test period is at da. If they are going to learn more, that's assumption, so I would skip that. But like, okay, learning period is coming up, so holidays are coming up. I don't know what else is there. Like we've changed from one room to another. We've changed from one building to another. We've changed something else.
Or are they going to get credits or not? That's like another fact that can influence the whole situation.
Okay, actually, this is not related to 6 thinking hats, but I would really go with 5 whys here and try to confirm everything that comes out of that. Maybe we can do a video one day about critical thinking. And the next hat is a yellow hat, and this one represents optimistic thinking, positive outlook. So what can you see? What is happening correctly, or are there any positive, optimistic, feasible benefits that you can think of out of this situation?
Well, students are still coming.
Yeah, that's a good one.
They haven't been cancelled,
Those are the early adopters that are willing to learn and move forward. So.
We weren't boo at.
Booed at.
Or no one throw an egg on us.
Or tomato.
Yeah, and we are, as Kat, as you said, we are helping those few students who are there, joining and pushing them forward, pulling them forward, sharing our knowledge.
Yes, it's good to look for values here. Why you are doing stuff. What comes out of it.
And maybe some positive feedback which was shared previously on some of the sessions.
For sure, yes. Also, what other positive things happened? Like, what did you do well? Or what do you think?
Corona tests.
Yeah, that
was negative.
That's the only thing where you want to be negative here.
The following hat is a red hat. The red hat is all about feelings. So this is totally subjective hat. So what do you feel about the situation? What are the emotions? You can be open. You don't need to judge it. It's just the way it is. There can be some hunches here. Like I feel like it's going to not work. And blah, blah. So what would you say in this situation if you had a red hat on?
The first thing comes to my mind is frustration that the students are leaving. Doubt is next. Like, am I that bad as an lecturer that the students are leaving?
I would definitely add there the whole situation. Like, I feel frustrated because certain number of people left before I finished the presentation, and it makes me feel vulnerable or not interesting, without value, because so that sort of a way, what I would probably say or add there.
It definitely helps to be very specific when you're wearing any of these hats. It should be objective or subjective depending on the hat, but it should be specific. The more specific, the better, right? So, for example, when we talked about facts, if this would be a real situation where we would really want to find out a solution, then we should gather more facts and write down as many as possible. And that probably would include a lot of effort and time. Get any other feelings regarding this? Any positive feelings? I know we already talked about yellow hat, but
that's the thing that I actually been asking myself whether start with the negative feeling or the positive one. But unfortunately, at the stage, as the fact is that students are leaving, only the negatives are coming. But when we did talk about the yellow one, and Kola shared some, like how to look at it or focus on the early adopters or these, started to also shift my own mind. And yet I don't want to like come up already with a solution of what I could do and how to start the lesson to overcome the possible outcome that the students may leave, right? Because there might be other possible solutions. So it's already sort of, I can feel it, it starts shifting my mind.
Actually, at this point, I want to mention there is no specific order to the hats. You should start with blue one and end with blue one. And there are some recommended orders. So for example, you should start with blue, continue with white, then red, and then it gets disordered, scrambled, and depending on what you are after. If you are, for example, evaluating some ideas, you first go like with the idea, and that is a green hat, which we'll go through next. So green is creativity, creative thinking. If you have any new ideas, if you want to come up with any new concepts, possibilities, alternatives.
Again, when you're talking that the first emotions which came up were the bad ones, I totally understand that. Like you are in a position where you don't feel comfortable at, or you feel some sort of a discomfort there because the reality and your expectations are being sort of mismatched, and that's why the conflict is being risen. But what we know is that we can be too, as you described, like we can be too narrow focused by our emotions. Like the emotional well-being is trying to protect us, and therefore when we feel bad, we are trying to automatically feel like, okay, we need to cut it down or something like that. So it's sort of a placebo and nocebo effect. Placebo, if you're happy, then you will continue to be happy. But if you're feeling bad, the nocebo, the golem effect, will actually persuade your own belief that, okay, we should do it and look for the bad one. So that's why I feel that the thinking heads, like having the positive and the emotional part, it's really well established that you can have first the emotional part and then look on the positive. And then, as you said, you would have feeling that you would have the feel of, okay, actually, it's not that bad. We can look for the solution.
Yeah, that's why you should adjust the order of the hats depending on the situation. And I would also suggest maybe go with the positive one after the negative one, because we also have a negative one, which is a black one. It's a critical hat. So we were talking about the red hat, which were feelings, and in this case they are not very positive, right? But the black hat, how different it is, it should be more objective. It should be less about feelings, more about criticizing logically, like what could be some drawbacks or what could be some challenges, right, along the head. So,
for example, could I put under criticizing logically that the students were, let's say, forced by university, have to attend the class, otherwise they don't get credit?
If that's true, then yes.
So if true, then it would belong here.
Yes.
Is that a negative? Because it sounded like a fact to me.
It is, yes. Actually, it could be a fact as well.
Like I could imagine that, for example, the black hat would be like, we haven't reached 100% attendance.
That's also a fact. So
True.
It depends on when you use this hat, right? So it could be used after green hat. So if you use it after green hat, which are ideas, so maybe you will come up with ideas, right? So for the solution, you can use black hat twice. You can use it before you come up with the solution, and that's a green hat. And after you come up with a solution, after green hat. So you can kind of cycle these hats until you are happy with the solution, or until you have no naysayers, right, with the black hats on. So you can use the hats to find the best solution. Of course, I think there should be some balance, right? So if you are stuck between black hat and green hat and no yellow, for example, no white, then that's not good.
And are we aiming with these heads only for one solution, or you can come up with more solutions?
I think you can come up with as many as you want, but at the same time, depends probably on your restraints, how much time you have, how many people you have.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we have the blue, white, yellow, red, green, black, and then you said we'll need to come back to the blue one.
Yes, that's true. And the blue one, you again take that role of a manager with a blue hat on, and you consolidate everything that was said, all the facts, all the feelings, all the positives, all the negatives, all the ideas, and then try to create a new solution, or basically decide on the outcome, what you are going to do next. Maybe you will need to go through the cycle again with all the 6 hats. Maybe you only need to go through few of them, right? Or maybe you already have decision. Okay, from the green thinking hat, we had these ideas. And when we were wearing black hat, we actually couldn't come up with any or very few drawbacks why this wouldn't work. So we are going with this one, with the solution, right? So 6 thinking hats are allowing us to look at the problem from 6 different views. So we are not stuck only in, like, for example, when you think back, you probably can think of people who are mostly wearing just 1 or 2 hats, right? By default, right? Many people will be thinking, oh, that will be terrible. No, like wearing maybe black hat and red hat only, right? So this is why it's very helpful to basically make you look at the solution or look at the situation from different perspective.
And from a time. Mm-hmm. So, like, okay, at the beginning I said, I brought up an issue or problem. What would be the ideal time if I want to apply the 6 hats?
How much?
Yeah, like, are we talking about minutes, an hour, half day?
Depends on the problem, right? So you might, for example, in your situation, there would be a lot of probably back and forth with university students. You would need to find out their feedback. Mm-hmm. So that would be several sessions, maybe broke down into a few hours, right? So I don't think maybe you could start with very quick session that would be an hour, but you would need to have a follow-up.
And should there be a group of people and you would assign to each person different head, or is it just one person?
Depends on you. I think, it's as any brainstorming, I think. So the more people you have and the more ways they look at the problem, the better. But of course, again, depends on time and resources.
My recommendation here is based on what had happened to you when we went from for the positive hat. Let the people switch from hat to hat.
So all the whole group would go.
Yeah.
Now we have that hat. Now we have that.
Yeah.
If you want to teach people how this works or teach them how to think differently, I would definitely do that. And if you want to find a solution, depends on how much time you have.
I would do it just for the lols, like yeah, because it brings different perspectives, start to feel different about the topic. So it will definitely bring different perspective even more.
Yeah, that's kind of a point, yes.
I wrote down, like, I literally was making notes. I never heard of this.
It's good because you can also watch our podcast,
I'm gonna do that. No, but I want to say that Really, I till now did not hear of 6 thinking heads. Maybe I did participate on something where just think of this, but never like, can I call it a methodology or whatever this is, right? But just like when we were stating the problem and then switching one head to another, really realized me how I can shift my mind like right there at that point. So it's pretty helpful what Kolaj said, that each member of that group that will be practicing this should go through every head just to have that own experience. And with that, Marush, thank you so much. So hope you guys will practice it as well. Let us know. You can write us a comment, right? And with that, 수고하셨습니다.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
This podcast represents our own opinions, experience, and our own ideas. We do not represent any official statement from our employers, and this is not their official channel representing the company.